Bro, what the This is what happens when you let your car sit for 3 weeks, dude. Love this. Oh my. What it looks like when you take your skirt off when you have that problem. They might be in the rail. They're definitely in the rail. Look at them. They're in the rail, dude. This is literally, I mean, I wouldn't say this is the rail. This is the body. But they're in the whole entire, from this rail all the way up the A-pillar, all the way up to the back side of the inside of the rear quarter. Holy. So, a lot of different things. We had to bend this fuel rail return up and get them over the intake for now until we get a new rail. Run those down to your lines. Had the new PVC down to here. Brake booster line down to the rear. And you got the fill in, which we ended up just removing this whole extra vacuum. Got all the injectors plugged in and everything. Okay, guys. So we're officially going to start removing everything. So the whole rail's got to come off. Every single injector is 3 bolts. Pull the 4 injectors out. These rubber lines will be, this one up front is your in, this one back rear from the regulator is the return. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the pressure gauge up front with the end going down the rail. We're still going to have the regulator down the rail. And then we'll have to run a soft line from the end of the regulator where that meets a hard line and run it over here. But I think that should be probably the best way I have for my setup to run that regulator or the pressure gauge on the front, feed through that, and then run the regulator at the end. That fuel pressure gauge will tell me exactly how much pressure is going through the line and then staying in the rail based off how much it's pushing in. So that should hopefully work okay. I just want to go ahead and say real quick that they tell you to disconnect your fuel pump and turn the car over and burn the fuel out the rail and the lines for a reason. If you're going to do this job and you're pulling, this is the one out of the regulator, which is the return. Don't ask me why, but the returns on these Miatas love to be high pressured. The whole system's at 60 psi. I typically pull the return first instead of pulling the end because you're going to have it shoot all over your windshield, which you could even tell when I pulled this one right here. It actually did shoot up to the firewall a little bit. I got it cleaned up, and what I did was I put a vacuum line to the end of it, put that vacuum line in a bottle, and I let it drain into said bottle. And at that point, it was mainly just vapors. Once I let all the vapor out, the pressure kind of relieved itself. So always pull the return first. It's still going to be 60 psi or so, but you're going to have less of an issue whenever you go to the end. If you pull the end before the return, you're going to let all the pressure out the end, but the return lines are still going to have pressure. If you go ahead and let the return lines let the pressure out, the regulator is going to release the pressure in the rail. And you also want to be careful when you do hook this. Now, if the pressure doesn't come through the regulator, you are going to have a lot of fuel. Sometimes it will come out of the regulator if you have a lot past the reg, but typically you still want to pull the return first, go ahead and get all the pressure out past the regulator, and then you want to pull your in and do exactly what you did to this one. Just be careful when you pull your in, especially being the fact that you're not turning over the battery with the pump disconnected. That will squirt fuel everywhere. And I'm going to tell you right now, you want to be wearing some glasses. Close your eyes as well, because I've had to get on my face. I've literally had gasoline splash all over my beard and everything, and it's not fun smelling like gasoline. So we're gonna go ahead, tackle this in. Sorry I'm not recording too much, but just want to let y'all know what we have done so far. Nothing too much. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pull off that stock fuel pressure regulator that is sitting right there. It takes 2 bolts, and we're gonna start removing the rail. Now I'll show you exactly what needs to be done. So right here is my fuel rail. On this rear is where I'm going to have the regulator, which will go in right here and screw in and sit on top of the rail like so. Back here, I'll most likely just run my stop plate. Up front, And obviously the regulator has a line coming out of it. Up front is where we're going to be running our gauge, and I'll be running the fuel to the front of the rail like it was from factory. We'll be running it through the gauge so it'll detect the pressure that's behind the rail as well, because it's not going to be able to push any more fuel than 43 psi from the stock regulator. So we're going to go ahead and get that set in stone. Probably going to have to put some Teflon tape on this because it does not have a seal like these 8ANs do. So on these 8ANs, you actually don't need to run Teflon tape on these 8ANs because they have that rubber gasket. But if you don't, like on an MPT fitting, this 1/8 inch MPT fitting, which goes to the gauge, run Teflon tape on that. If not, you will leak. Run Teflon tape on this as well because it does not have a seal. Yes, I just want to go ahead and tell you, I know my fuel line is over the intake. I could smack that. Look at that. I'm not worried about it, dude. I don't care. I could cut it, shorten it, and run it right there like so. I wouldn't be worried about it. Or I could run it underneath from right here. Boink, boink, boink with the same length. But y'all don't realize I don't give a look. I'm trying to go fast. I literally don't give a single look. I'm trying to drive. I'm trying to go fast. Alrighty, guys. She's back up and running. We're still working on the tune. She's running a little lean right now. So she's not on complete power. She's on a low power tune.